Welcome back to my Minecraft Custom NPCs tutorial series. In the last episode, we went over the basics of how to set up an NPC and make him kind of walk around, and I covered all the basic tabs. In this episode, we're going to go over the advanced options. With your NPC wand, click any NPC you want, and the menu will open. We will navigate to the Advanced tab, and let's take a look at the Lines page first. So the first thing I want you to pay attention to is the Interact lines. These are the most important, at least in my opinion. So these, when a player clicks on an NPC and nothing else is set up, this will appear above their head in a big chat bubble, which I will demonstrate now. So if we walk up to Gavin Reed and right-click him, he will say, hello, just like that, in a little chat bubble above his head and down in the chat. So that's a little generic. I don't really like that all the NPCs know your name. So we're going to get rid of that. If you do want them to know your name, all you have to do is, in place of a name, say @P, and that will give the player's name instead of whatever you write. All right, so I'm just going to give him a couple of generic quotes. You can fill them out however you want. I'm just going to go with some from World of Warcraft because I'm lazy. So after you fill out your quotes, we can right-click the NPC, and he will say them in random order. Now let's see if I can get him to say a different one. Nope. Looks like the server is lagging. Oh, there we go. And then if you want to see what that looks like in here, just interact lines, and then you just fill them out right like that. The world lines are similar to the interact lines, except instead of when the player interacts with them, they will just say them randomly. I'm not going to fill that out just because it starts to kind of, if you have a whole bunch of NPCs in a city and they all have chat bubbles going up, it starts to kind of clutter the place. Attack lines, they will say when they attack something. Killed lines, they will say when they die. And kill lines, they will say when they kill something. So that's pretty simple. Great way to add some spice to a city without, doing too much work, is just add a bunch of these little NPCs who kind of just walk around and say generic things like safe travels. Now let's take a look at the factions. This is one of my favorite features of custom NPCs, is you can set up different factions that then you can set like who they like, who they don't like, and you as a player, when you can set it so that when you complete quests or do specific things, you will gain points for a certain faction or lose points with another. So when you first start up the mod, you will only have friendly, neutral, and aggressive. So, I mean, pretty obviously friendly, they're friendly to the player. Neutral, they are right in the middle. And aggressive, they don't like you and will attack on sight. I like to create my own for my worlds that have like their own names, and you could set them to have different colors. So I have the Village of Stillwater as its own faction. I then have orcs and high elves and this evil cult and things like that, which are slightly different. So in this faction tab, you can set what faction the NPC that you are currently editing is a part of. So I'm going to set him to Stillwater. I will not set him to attack hostile factions or defend because he's just a citizen. So for him, I will make it so that you gain faction with the Cult of the Dead, because they are kind of the main antagonists to the Village of Stillwater in this world. But then you will also lose faction with Stillwater when you kill him. And if you lose enough faction, the local guards will actually come and attack you, and the quest givers will stop talking to you. And the way you set up factions is in the global tab. You click on factions, you can click add, and we can add a new faction. I'm just going to name this tutorial. That's not how you spell tutorial. I'll just name this test. And then you can change the color here. We'll make them yellow. This is how many points they have at default. So to a brand new player, you will currently have 1,000 points, so right in the mid, right at neutral. And then this is how many points you need to become unfriendly. Is if you have 500 or less, you are unfriendly. If you have 1,500 or more, you are friendly to them. Hidden will hide it so that it can't be selected. Attacked by mobs will set it so that obviously mobs will attack them. And then you can set hostile factions to them. So in the case of Stillwater, their hostile faction is the Cult of the Dead and the Orcs. I'm going to remove that test faction now because I'm on a private server and I don't want to clutter the place too much. Alright, we will move on to the dialogue tab. In the dialogue option, you can select dialogues that you've created in the global options. So as you see, I have a whole bunch. Most of these are about quests. Some of them aren't. There's a whole bunch here. And then any option that is selected to them, they will perform when you right-click them. And the way you set those up is in the global options, there's a dialogue tab, and you can click that. And then you can create some categories. I'm going to remove that one. So we have a couple of different categories. I'm just going to go into Stillwater. And then if you click dialogues, it'll show you what dialogues you have created there. And these are the same ones that you get the options for when you come back over here. I'll go more into those when I start going into how to create quests in future episodes. In the Sounds tab, you can select sounds that the NPC will play. So the living sound, they will kind of just play at random. Think like your zombie growls and skeleton bone rattles. The angry sound they will play when they begin to attack, so like the zombie pigmen squeals. Hurt sound is the sound they will play when you hit them. Death sound is the sound they will play when they die. And the step sound is the sound their feet make while they walk. Has pitch means that it will pitch shift sounds just a little bit so that you never hear the same sound twice in a row. Night, linked, and scenes are complex tabs that I will go over in a future episode. Alright, and that is all for this week. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you want more of these. Stay tuned for next week. I will show you how to create a basic guard, like this guy right here, who will patrol a set area and fight off monsters and win every time.